Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tool to Play presents Still Got Game with Derek D. Smooth Nolan and Joel Duda Rock Albert.
Hey now! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still Got Game, episode 32.5. Still Got Game is the official podcast of ToolToPlay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Tiffany Electrify Nolan.
So, now this is your special second bonus episode of this week. I know we did episode 32, Joel, Dudai Rock, and Albert and I. That was a traditional episode where we kind of follow our outline format and we cover gaming news and new releases and listener feedback. But here we are really just cutting down to our PAX experience, the official Tool to Play PAX experience. And Tiff and I are going to talk that, some of the stuff we saw. And we obviously couldn't see everything. You just can't do that even over 3 days, which is why next year they're talking about moving it to 4 days. But we will go through and we'll tell you what we saw and we'll tell you what we liked, what we didn't like, and we'll go from there.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so let's start off with the big three. So the big three traditionally, Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft.
Yep.
Two of them didn't have any booths
Wait, I think a couple of them were missing.
Yes.
I don't remember seeing them. Yeah, I know the event's really big, but I don't think I remember seeing Sony or Nintendo there.
That is correct. So they both chose not to do this show, which I don't know what reasons those would be.
Yeah, I don't either. You haven't read anything?
No, everybody says, we'll see you at E3, we'll see you at these other events.
And just saving it for E3 then.
And now with PAX South coming, this is that congested show schedule. So
I don't know, if we're having, two of the big three already not going to events like this, what is going to happen at PAX South? I'm really confused. I don't know. I really want the event to do well. I think it's great for the fans, but like I said in a little article that I wrote up, it's going to be a huge strain on a lot of the developers.
Yeah. This is it goes to show that you can't take your stuff to every show, especially when there's 12 or 13 a year. So Microsoft did show off some stuff. Some of it was stuff, actually most of it was stuff that's already out that people can play now in their homes, but Microsoft used it more as a selling event. So what they showed off was Titanfall. They showed off Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare.
Yep.
And they also showed off Rise. And also they showed off some Kinect titles like the new
Sports Rivals.
Yeah, Kinect Sports Rivals.
Yep.
So these are all things that you can play now in your house. But Microsoft did take some booth space to show it off. And I'll tell you, the Titanfall line was nonstop the whole
it was
weekend.
insane. They were actually giving away these cute little pins. I only got 2 of the 3, but we've got the Atlas and the Strider here. I missed the Ogre. So, these are pretty popular around the event. They were giving these out. Lots of people. It was a huge line pretty much the entire time.
It was definitely a good crowd there. But really what they were showing is stuff that's already out. So what we went there to see is stuff that we had not yet seen or had heard about and wanted to check out. So the first, we'll kind of break this down by developer or publisher, and in no particular order, and then we'll get to our overall thoughts at the end.
Yep.
So let's start out with Ubisoft.
We always love Ubi. Ubi always has a ton of stuff to show off. I think they are probably one of the bigger publishers that has, the most games on the floor. There really wasn't a lot there that I was excited to see other than Watch Dogs. And, me thinking, hey, Watch Dogs isn't coming out yet. We haven't really seen a lot of the gameplay for it yet. It's been postponed a few times. Surely they're going to have it on the floor. We can try it out. I even made an appointment. And lo and behold, we show up. There's nothing going on there. Their system was down. And I believe it was only an iPad game.
Yeah, their system
they only had an iPad companion app to go with it.
It was like a browser-based companion to Watch Dogs that they had on some PCs there. But for the third year in a row, there is no playable Watch Dogs anywhere. So
Watch Dogs is a lie in my mind at this point. I don't even know if there really is a game.
Yeah, it was a little disappointing. And then they were showing off all their usual. They had some esports stuff going on there with the next level. And then they were showing off, the big thing they had there was an indoor half pipe where they were playing
Trials Fusion.
Yep. And they had some Monster Energy was there with some guys doing BMX tricks all day long on the tightest half pipe I've ever seen.
It was insane. These guys are really, really good.
Yeah, so that was that looks really good. That's if you've played Trials HD or was Trials Evolution.
Yep.
This is just the next iteration in that, and it looks fantastic.
It does. I took my son over there at one point on Sunday just to try out the game, and it's just one of those that it's really hard to get used to the controls. You're always flipping over, you're always pulling wheelies. So there's definitely a difficulty level to that, and I'm already seeing a lot of people talking about their scores on it and trying to beat each other's scores. So it seems like it's gonna be a pretty competitive little game.
Yeah, just like the others. They're all about social interaction and mocking your friends. So then we'll get into 2K games. Big booth presence as always. Actually, not as always.
No.
Last year, we say as always because at E3 they're huge.
Right.
But last year at PAX East they had just a teeny little broadcast stage. But this year they were back in true form.
Yep.
The first thing we saw there was Evolve.
Yes. First thing, Friday morning, media hour. I knew that was the what I really wanted to see. I had a feeling that game was going to be getting a lot of hype throughout the show, and it definitely did. There was huge lines for that the entire time. We were the first group in there Friday morning. Got to see their first presentation. The game looks fantastic, and even better, we actually got some hands-on with the game, which I was kind of surprised about. But I guess with it coming out later this summer or summer to fall, I don't know if that date's been confirmed yet. I've heard somewhere between June and September.
Yeah, during the thing they were saying fall, but
okay,
that's probably the latest update. But before that, they were saying all kinds of other stuff. So this game is, for those of you that don't know or didn't listen to the actual episode 32 earlier this week, this is a asymmetrical multiplayer first-person shooter, 4v1, 4 players on one team, 1 player on the other. The players on one team are the trapper, support, assault, and a medic. And the other team is just one big giant fucking monster.
It's so awesome.
So
they seriously have like the best logo in the world. Like, if you really think about this, the 4v1, they gave out these little wristbands as you came out of the presentation, and these kind of filtered you into your different lines as to so you could know what character you're going to play at the show.
Yeah, the game plays out like a big ass boss battle.
It's so good.
Think of a boss battle in any game that you're playing multiplayer with your friends, and you're trying to take down this giant boss, and you're working it. Well, that's exactly how this multiplayer works. The longer that monster stays alive, the more he evolves to different levels of ability and power.
I think they said level 3 was the highest evolution that the monster could get.
Yep.
And the one that we saw was, what was it, a Godzilla type, I believe. But it sounded like they're going to have a whole bunch of different types of monsters. I got to say, my heart was racing. Right out of the gate, you're playing as the characters and not the monster. You're kind of, following these footsteps, trying to see where the monster went. The monster's trying to run around at that point, trying to find some wildlife and other things like that it can eat so that it'll evolve. So it's kind of that whole aspect of the game as well, where you have all these other animals and critters running around that will even attack you, but the monster can also eat and help. That's what helps it evolve. But my heart was racing like the entire time. Yeah,
the game is really awesome. I can't wait for this. And from what we talked about just with everybody at the show, this was on everybody's top 2, top 3, top 5 list. So you can't go wrong with that. And then when we were done with that, we walked right across their booth, and we saw Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Now, this wasn't playable or anything.
Nope.
But we did watch it. What was probably, I said was a little too long. It was probably a half hour, 45 minutes.
They gave a lot of information, and it is 2K Australia, I think, that's working with Gearbox. And, I mean, they were just so excited to show this off. I'm not sure how they were by the end of the show, but I know, first thing in the morning, they were super excited. They had a lot to say about it. I took, like, a ton of notes. And they had just announced this right before PAX, so, there's a lot of hype also for this game. Right now, though, it's only confirmed for the Xbox 360 and the PS3 and PC, I believe.
Last gen.
Yeah.
Yes. That's bullshit.
It is bullshit. I see that they have to take this to the next gen. They just probably can't announce it yet. It seems like it's going to be... Why are you shaking your head?
Because I don't think this is coming next gen. I'll tell you, this is going to be last gen only. If you want to play this, you're going to have to dig out go to either one of the kids' rooms upstairs, or dig out pop out the games case with the Xbox 3 shitty in it, because this is definitely not going to be next gen. And the game doesn't look next gen.
I'm holding out hope.
They didn't invest in... since it's cel shaded, the textures are really questionable anyway.
True.
But it doesn't look next gen, but it looks like a fun Borderlands game. So they changed it up basically now. Instead of taking place on Pandora, it takes place on the moon. You have the 4 playable characters this time are Athena, Misha, Wilhelm, who's that half man, half machine guy.
And Claptrap.
But because takes place between Borderlands 1 and 2, he's not like fully machine yet. He's much more man. So it's actually kind of creepy. They've got a whole new loot system where now they have elemental icons with the weapons. So in the past where you had like the fire damage and stuff, now there's ice damage or there's laser weapons. And they've replaced the whole relic system with oxygen, O2. So what you do is you pick up these O2 kits.
Because you're on the moon, you need oxygen.
Exactly. And now these have some abilities with them. So maybe they give you regen or this or that, but they have some certain quantity of oxygen that they provide you. And what you have to do is, as you run around the moon, you have this little bubble forms around your head, gives you some oxygen so you can actually stay outside. And every once in a while, you either have to find an oxygen bubble or a vent to replenish your oxygen supply. Otherwise, you just go away.
And it seemed like there was different areas that there was like these kiosks that you go and turn on, like, you know, a big bubble area of oxygen. They also have a new Australian character. I think his name was Spring. So kind of pulling in that, you know, Australia aspect from the Australian 2K team. And they were joking kind of in there saying, you know, as they went along with the game development, that somewhere along the way, the moon turned into Australia. So it was kind of a big joke, and it looks really fun. You know, I might pull out the game's case in last gen, and you know, maybe play a little Diablo 3 while I'm at it.
So sad. But like I said, if you like Borderlands, it looks like a fun game. It's just not going to be the game that's for me.
No.
All right,
We'll see.
So then from there we went over to Square Enix, and I watched Tiff play the most boring game I've ever seen in my life. It's called Murdered Soul Suspect, and Tiff, why don't you tell everybody what you loved about this game?
So I first saw this at E3 last year. It's a game where you kind of have to solve your own murder. So at the very beginning, you kind of watch yourself die, and then throughout the game, you're kind of trying to find clues and solve different puzzles and figure out, you know, who killed you and why, so that you can kind of move on to the afterlife. Because at this point, you're kind of stuck between, you know, real life and the afterlife in this in-between world. I think they had a name for it, but I forget what it was. But there's just lots of... The part that you didn't like is there's a lot of cutscenes. There's a lot of dialogue. I can definitely see why this is not your type of game. I'm not sure at this point... It's
not even really a game. It seemed like an interactive story.
I know. I'm not sure at this point if it's going to be my type of game or not anymore. I don't know if it's just because there was all the stuff kind of setting up the story. And then, you know, once you're finally into it, there was a lot of cool aspects to the game, you know, kind of how you move around. You can move through certain objects, other objects you can't move through. There's these kind of demons that are after you, and you have to kind of avoid them. At the same time, you can possess people and influence them and figure out certain clues to kind of help you move on to the next section of the story.
This game is so horrible.
Oh my gosh. For me, it depends on the timing of this one, whether I'll pick it up or not. If there's nothing else out, I may pick it up. It may end up being fun, but at this point, it's definitely fallen a little bit further down on my radar.
All right, that's fair enough. Well, then from there, I didn't have an appointment. I managed to squeak myself in over at Bethesda and skip the 2-3 hour line for Wolfenstein: The New Order. This is a game I had a chance to check out in E3. I was super excited for it. I was super excited to listen to their presentation about it. And then I played it at E3, and it was a steaming pile of shit. But I'm glad to say that it is worlds better now that I played it at PAX East here. The game is basically, just to give you a nutshell, it's the Nazis win World War II, and they go ahead and they move up to 1960, and so now they've had the world for 20 years here. They go ahead, they take all kinds of shit over. They are the world-dominating power. You know, you got to kill a lot of Nazis, and the graphics are great, and you know, overall it looks fantastic. So I'm actually really my opinion of this title has totally changed since E3, and I'm actually kind of excited for it.
So was this PC only, or did you play on?
You can never tell here because
okay.
Yeah, you really can't tell because you can play keyboard or right now all the dev kits they'll either give you a keyboard and mouse or they'll give you a gamepad and it might be a PC game anyway. So
Right. Now, all I know about this game is that they had a huge screen, playing different cutscenes from the game, and this is probably my most what the fuck game that I saw there, because some of the scenes and some of the things that they were showing were just so insane. Like, I don't know how, kind of thinking about it now, I don't know how they could have shown some of those things with younger kids walking around on the floor and stuff, because there was some pretty graphic scenes up there.
Yeah, there's supposed to be some rated M content stuff where it has to be behind closed doors or at least behind screens, but because PAX East is a all ages thing. But yeah, there was one scene on the screen where like this soccer coach, a soccer referee goes over to a player and he throws him the yellow card, and the player's like, huh? And then he pulls out a gun and shoots the guy right in the head. It's fucked up.
It was pretty messed up. That's why I said it's definitely my what the fuck game of the show.
All right. From there, I had an appointment over with my friend Justin Kordoff, 60K, over at Robot Entertainment, and I ended up seeing Orcs Must Die Unchained. So, as you know, Orcs Must Die 1.
Right. This was an unannounced title.
It was unannounced until we actually got there. It was announced the first day of the show.
It was one of those booths. I think it was one of the only booths that I recall seeing that had, the signs covered up until the day of.
Yes. Yep. So Orcs Must Die 1 was PC and Xbox XBLA.
Yep.
Then they had some patching issues and some money issues with Microsoft. So Orcs Must Die 2 came out on Steam. It was cooperative 2-player, and everybody seemed to love that, but PC only. And now here we have another PC title, and the only way I can describe this is it's like TF2, so the Team Fortress 2 classes, different class-based stuff, meets a MOBA. So you have a couple different lanes, but all those lanes interconnect, unlike traditional MOBAs where you have, top, mid, and low.
And you're setting up traps, right?
And you still have the entire tower defense aspect of the game where at different intervals you get to go over and you get to spend your money that you've earned from killing guys and plant your traps. And there's a whole bunch of different champions in the game. It's 5v5 gameplay. It's fast. It's frenetic. It's all built on the Unreal Engine, so it looks beautiful. Right now it's in a technical alpha. And then what they're expecting to do is they're expecting to go to closed beta this summer and hopefully release this fall. I am pumped for this game because it has all the fun of Orcs Must Die with a whole new aspect of cooperative teamwork and knowing how to play your class and what champion you like, because the champions really equate to a different player class. So what champion you want to play, what class you like to play, and
so that is definitely the MOBA aspect right there.
Yeah, I'm excited to check this title out more, but. It is what it is until the fall, or if I can get into the alpha here, which
there you go.
Which they led me to believe I might be able to. So I'm not sure what I'll be able to say about it at that point, but I can't wait to play this some more.
Very cool.
Yeah. So then we made our normal visit over to Turtle Beach because we're always hoping that there's some
Yes.
good news on the headset front.
This is one of the only reasons that we go there is to find out what's going on with the next gen stuff.
Yes. So what we did is we saw most of their new product line there.
I did think it was kind of cool that they took us into this little back room and showed us some other things that weren't out yet.
Yeah. So they brought us to the within this room within their booth.
It was like a 5x5 room. It was so tiny.
We're jammed in there, but he showed us I only have one of these in the world, and it's right here. And yes. So what they did, they've kind of spent the last year ensuring that everybody that's already bought a headset from them has an ability to have compatibility with the next gen console. So. The Microsoft Chat adapter for the Xbox One has fixed that not only for Turtle Beach stuff, but for everybody else. With the PlayStation stuff, there was a little more trouble getting your PlayStation 3 headsets up to PlayStation 4, and now they have some interim devices that do the Bluetooth, and they convert it to the PS4 via USB and all this other stuff. So they worked on that first. Right at this moment, because they were working on all that catch-up for existing headsets. And for those of you that don't have Turtle Beach, it doesn't matter whether you have Astros or whatever. The same stuff can help you be forward compatible with your existing headsets that you have.
The little dongle was it was this long. It was just some little thing that was.
It had optical in and the chat out,
and that was it.
And it fixes everything for you. So just know that that's there.
I don't think that's one of the ones that wasn't out yet, though, right?
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be summertime.
Yep.
And then what they're focused on right now is a lot of the PC stuff because they were dealing with the past console stuff. Moving forward, now they're dealing with PC stuff. They have all this crazy shit doing now DTS surround in what's the size of a USB thumb drive.
Yep.
Plug it in, you got DTS surround out of your PC, takes a lot of the processing power away from the PC, so now you're not wasting cycles on processing all these discrete audio channels, puts it into this USB key and gives you that amazing DTS sound. And then for the next gen, the next wave of headsets that have all the next gen stuff built in, that's going to be starting later this year, because right now it's any headsets that you buy from them
They're
now are
waiting
all
on-
stereo stuff.
Right, and
Because
they're waiting on Microsoft to fix a lot of that. I mean, them, Astro, all these other, gaming headset companies they're waiting for Microsoft to fix this stuff so that they can put the right equipment out. And I love going to the Turtle Beach booth, but it's one of those booths where I don't understand like 70% of what they're saying.
Oh my God, you pretended you did.
I know. But that's why I'm glad that you're there at those, because you're definitely more the audio engineer than I am, and most of it's just like blah 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 blah.
Well,
blah blah blah. Not yet. Blah 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 blah. Next gen. Blah blah blah. Like that's pretty much what I heard the entire time.
Nice. Well, the one thing that we did get out of that was that at least Turtle Beach, so I'm assuming all the headset guys were originally told that the port on the controller was going to give them the full surround audio out of there.
Right.
And right now we barely get stereo audio out of that. And Microsoft said, in the future we might support this. But all the headset guys in advance were told that they were going to get all the audio out of that. So that's a little controversy from Microsoft.
And it definitely seems like they're still working on it. I mean, there's always like new beta audio enhancements coming out on any of the console updates. So hopefully they will get there soon. But the companies that are making all these headsets, they're going to be a few months behind. Like once this is finally released, if not more than that.
Yep. And then the last big thing I saw, I ended up sneaking into the last day. I never heard of the game.
Me
but
neither. They had an awesome
They had a
looking
huge booth that was
Yeah.
always packed the entire weekend, and it's really what it equates to an indie title. The name of the company is Xavient, and
I have not heard of them.
I had never heard of them either. And the game is called Lichdom Battle Mage, and this is like a first-person caster game. So pretend you're playing Skyrim and you're a caster.
When you say caster, you mean like you're casting
Yes,
spells?
casting spells, yes.
Okay.
The powers that you have at your avail here are fucking epic, and they're, whether you want to be a fire or ice or whatever, you can, build up your mage in any particular way, and you have what seem to be the most powerful fucking things you can ever do. But the monsters scale up with, or the bad guys scale up with the powers that you have, so the game is actually still playable and competitive, and it was, I played it for about 20 minutes. It was a blast. Now, this is PC only, and right now it's available on Steam Early Access, which is how I'm assuming they have managed to afford a booth that was like 1/3 the size of the entire Indie Mega booth just for themselves.
Yeah, they had a really nice booth.
Yeah, it was huge. So you can pay $20 now, get in Steam Early Access. You have access to all the alphas. You have the full game when it comes out, and I think that they're using that money to further their development and to pay for this booth presence. But it was a blast. And if you're into that spell casting, like if you like playing Skyrim or those kind of games, and you like playing as a caster and you got your hand out there and casting a spell and shooting lightning bolts and shit, this game is
Fire.
fucking for you. It is
Fire.
awesome. So, and
Nice.
then
I'm glad you got over there to see that one, because I know you were kind of, that was one of the surprises.
yeah, it's like, what the fuck's this thing? Why is there a big line? I've
And
never
I'm
heard of
like,
it.
What is this game?
So then from there, this is where I'm going to take a little break, because
Oh my
there's
gosh.
there's a piece of the show at PAX East that I always consider the shitty part of the floor, and it's the Indie Mega Booth. And I know some people love it, some people don't, but it is a basically indie developers cannot afford a full booth space. So for the first year, they bought the smallest size booth and they split it between, I think, 8 different
It was
indie
not
developers.
very many. I think it was a little bit more than 8, but it was not a lot.
And since then, over the past 5 years, this thing has grown and grown and grown. This year, it was absolutely huge. It was the size of 6 or 8 normal booths.
Yeah, it was almost half of the normal convention area.
Yeah.
I felt like. I mean, it was a huge area, and there were so many things. Like I was looking through the list earlier today, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing them there. Like I'm just looking at all the games, and there was a ton of games. There was 95 developers showing off like over 100 games. It was insane. Like you could have easily spent 3 days just over there in the Indie Mega Booth area.
Well, now I'm going to take a breath here. I'm going to have some alcohol while Tiff tells you about the 100 throwaway games that she saw. No, I'm just kidding. She only saw about 6 or 8 of them.
No,
so you don't have to worry
I
about
didn't
that.
even write up all of the ones that I saw. But
right.
so one of the first ones that I looked at that caught my eye and my son's eye as we were walking by on Sunday was this little game called Cupcakes and Critters.
Higher up. You gotta go higher. You gotta go higher. There you go.
sorry.
Yes.
Okay, here, I'll put it in front of my face.
Yeah.
So this one was called Cupcakes and Critters. It is a Facebook game. I think they're in alpha, beta, something like that. But
Some Greek letters.
it's like it's a cute little tower defense game. It was, it looked like a lot of fun to play on the iPad. And basically, you're just this cupcake, and you have all these bugs like coming to like trying to attack you, and you're just squashing the different bugs with like fly swatters and all these other different things. But it was a lot of fun. It was definitely an indie game. It's a very simple game. It seems like it'd be fun and in small bursts. And I really think it would appeal to a lot of kids. Obviously, it's got the the high color, very cartoony. Who doesn't love cupcakes?
Yeah. Everybody loves cupcakes.
Exactly. Everybody loves cupcakes. So next, I also had a chance to stop back by Revolution 60. That's by Giant Space Cat, also another indie development company. And this is, I actually got to see them last year as well. And I'm also one of their Kickstarter backers. So it was kind of cool to see how the game has progressed from last year to this year. Giant Space Cat is a all-female development team, which is also kind of cool. They're really, really nice, really fun to talk to. The game is referred to Heavy Rain meets Mass Effect. I'm not quite sure what that means, but it's kind of a thing that they've been throwing around a lot. A lot of it's just decision-based, very decision-driven gameplay. A lot of like quick time event type things where you have to draw a circle on the screen or move your finger across a line in a certain amount of time to make certain decisions. It looks really great. I'm excited for this when this finally comes out. I'm probably going to be getting in on some of their beta gameplay. I just need to hook up with them, and I may have more on this in the future. It seems like a pretty fun game. I believe they're targeting females, of course, as their core audience. Probably looking at the teen to young woman range, which I obviously fall into.
Totes.
But yeah, I'm excited for this one. It has really great graphics. I think you're going to be hearing a little bit more about this game in the future.
Maybe.
So I also had a chance to stop by Dragon Fin Soup, and that is another game on Kickstarter that I backed. My husband has actually banned me from backing Kickstarters for a while. I'm not sure why.
Someone went apeshit. She was just like, she thought they were Pokemon. She had to catch them all.
Yeah, I was trying to catch them all. So they did fantastic on Kickstarter. The Kickstarter had actually just ended right before PAX. They reached like 500% of their goal. A bunch of their stretch goals. Over 4,000 backers. So it's a very highly popular game. This one's kind of a classic JRPG style game. This has a lot of like tactical action, and you kind of play as this little rogue Red Robin character, and you can have a companion that goes around with you. I did have a chance to sit down and try it out for a little while, but unfortunately there was an alpha load on the PC and crash. So I didn't really get to. I didn't get a chance
Typical
to get.
PAX, right?
I know. Yeah. I didn't get a chance to get back by there, but the guys were so nice. I don't think I've ever seen such like caring developers. Like they really care about the feedback and how everyone's doing, and they're very open to to people talking to them and asking them about the game and requesting things. They've been very, very good, even on Kickstarter. Announcing things, promoting the game, answering questions, just keeping everybody up to date with what's going on.
Nice.
Another game that I checked out with my son as we were walking by. This one grabbed his eye as well. I don't know if it's just because of where they were or the big zombie pictures that were showing up around the booth, but it was called World Zombination. I believe this was also from a Kickstarter at some point. It's by a game dev studio called Proletariat, which is also a Boston-based company. So, Boston's definitely very big in the indie games, so I'm not surprised that there were so many indie studios there at PAX. at PAX East. Much more than any of the other PAX events, I think. So this game was a real-time strategy game where you have zombies versus humans. It's we were playing, I believe, as the zombies, and it's a tablet, so you can play this on Android or iPads. I know, look at you.
These are throwaway games.
They're not. It looked really fun.
Oh.
Just because it's not a AAA title doesn't mean it's not a good game.
If it's on an iDevice, it's a piece of shit.
It
It's to be played on the shitter or on the train.
Okay, well, okay. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
So there's a certain point where you have it's kind of the area where you spawn the zombies, and you have to push your finger down on a certain part of the screen, and the longer you hold it there, the more zombies spawn. And I think at one point he probably had close to 300 to 500 zombies like spawning in just this one area, and they move this big mass kind of towards your goal.
Definitely not for me.
It's supposed to be in beta soon, so definitely keep an eye on this one. It seemed like a lot of fun.
All right.
All right, Derek, back to you.
I did see one thing in the Indie
my
Mega
gosh.
booth, and it's
Only
only because
because-
someone made me
yeah,
make an
only because-
appointment.
I know.
She was like, it'd be nice if you saw this. So I
you
fucking
should really go see this. You might like it.
I saw it. It was well, the name of the game is Secret Ponchos, and the name of the company is Switchblade Monkeys. Now, Tiff in the 3 days prior swapped these back and forth interchangeably like 1,000 times. Like, hey, you're gonna go see Switchblade Monkeys by Secret Ponchos. I was like, no. So,
We're like, wait, what is it?
no. So the game is Secret Ponchos. It is it's like a Western gunslinger arena shooter game. So it's 8 players. You get in there, everybody can pick different player classes. Some have slower, some are faster, some have, and they're all balanced. So they have longer range weapons, shorter range weapons. The game has actually been in development for 4 years, but only because they didn't have a coder to actually code the game until a year ago.
So how crazy is that? So they have all like the art assets. They have all like the storyline written down.
They have all the audio recorded,
Everything
everything
done
except for the
except the
code,
code.
which is weird. So they spent a whole year on the coding. Once they finally brought a coder in, the game was okay. It was fast. It was too fast for my taste because you just spawn, die,
so
spawn,
earlier you're
die.
saying a game was too slow for you.
Well,
so now this game was too fast?
Well, this game, the rounds did not last long enough because
Okay.
the camera has you so panned in on the world that you're running around in this Western universe to fight these guys. By the time you finally get someone into your view, it's a quickie, like, take a couple shots, the other guy takes a shot, somebody's down, and then you're waiting to respawn. Like, that's
Right.
not fun.
No, this is the one that we played with the PS4 controllers, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I found the just kind of the game controls a little awkward. It wasn't very intuitive. There were some points where like you're supposed to like hold one thing
And aim with the
aim,
with
yeah,
stick.
and aim with the stick.
Yeah,
and then
it was poor control design. Yeah.
So it definitely seemed a little awkward. The game itself seemed like it seemed like a fun game.
Yeah, it was decent, but definitely not my style of game. And for a lot of the things that I just talked about, there will be some in-depth news stories on the Tool to Play homepage. This one, not so much. There's not a whole lot to tell about it. And I even
Like
tried
a
to interview the
paragraph
guy.
and
I
some
was like,
pictures.
tell me about things. And he's like, well, you just played it. You should know what it's like. And the only information I got him was that 4-year development thing. So,
Right.
and I'm trying to pull teeth getting shit out of him. So there will not be a story about that on the Tool to Play homepage. But
Oh,
sorry.
that was one of your stories.
I know. Well, that's why I do video stuff, so I don't have to do stories. So, Tiff, now you have some other things that you want to talk about here that I really don't care.
Shopping.
Yes, exactly.
That's why. So, just want to touch base a little bit on just kind of the merchandise and all that. It's kind of funny when we first got there. Friday morning, we're trying to find where the media line was supposed to be, and we ended up in the PAX merch line for a little bit at some point, and Derek quickly realized our mistake and moved us along. But so that was kind of funny. But
That line was insane. Yeah,
It
granted,
was.
like it could have been the media line with the number of fucking people that
There
are
was
in line
probably-
2 hours before it opens to
Right.
get fucking merchandise.
Yes, I told you they want to get their little scarves.
I don't understand.
But merch is definitely a big money maker at these events. You're not getting a lot of as much free swag, I'd say, as you used to. So a lot of these even 2K, they had like a little 2K store where they were selling like iPhone cases and T-shirts and things like that. Where in the past you may have actually gotten those as free swag for playing some of the games.
Fucking economy.
I know. So they were there. What was the other big one? The Sanchi had like a huge booth. Loot Crate was there. And even WildStar was selling these little plushies,
Yeah.
So the merch is definitely big there. A lot of people were spending money on it. So I'm not sure what's going on with the economy, but there are a lot of people throwing money around definitely at this event.
No, it costs plenty just to get in, and people are buying all this merch. You see these big bags, and you made a good point that there's definitely a lot less, and not like we leverage a whole lot of it. A lot of the shit that you usually get is junk, but there were definitely a lot less. You wait in line to see something, you get a shirt, you get this, you get that.
Right? Yeah. I mean, a lot of doing pins now. I don't know if you can see these or not,
Yeah,
but
because pins cost way less than shirts.
Pins and bracelets, and so definitely the amount of swag has gone down. You can definitely see it. Economies definitely hit a lot of these studios. Hopefully, we'll kind of see a resurgence here at E3.
Oh, I don't think we'll have any problem. Like E3, people are just like, here, take 10 shirts. Just like E3 is the exact opposite because they know it's all press. Here, it's just you're jamoke off the street, and you're like, oh,
right.
I can either give him something or I can get him to buy something. And this is the gaming world. He'll totally buy stuff from us. And based on what we saw, it's true. People buy all kinds of shit at PAX.
They do. So one really cool thing that we found way back in the corner in the Indie Mega Booth area. I don't know if you can see these. Is that close enough?
Yeah.
So these are little stickers that you can put on your PS4 DualShock controllers that
On the light bar.
On the light bar that it'll actually the light shows through. And what are you doing? Oh, okay. Wait, I was like splitting it.
That's a PAX
Splitting the uprights. So, this is a really great little idea from, I believe they're also a Massachusetts company. They're made by a company called Flaming Toast, and they specialize in, like, decals and graphics. And, so there's all kinds of different designs or sayings that you can get on these. I think it's a really cool idea. It's a great way to customize your controller, especially, if you have a house that has more than one. You can,
and they're all black, and they all look the same.
Like, there's nothing that, distinguishes them. I think we're actually thinking about looking into possibly getting some custom tool to play ones. So we'll
give some out. We'll sell some.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool, and you can find them on Twitter at Toasty Stickers.
Nice. All right. Well, now.
I didn't talk about shopping that long.
All right. Is there anything else no? That's really what we're focusing on. What we saw in depth. Now, we saw.
Oh my gosh.
In addition to that, hundreds of other games. So. And some were, you stop in, you look at it, you play it for a second, you're like, I'm fucking out of here. That's the beauty of not having appointments, is that
right.
you can leave stuff right away. Like Tiff was playing some game where she was moving a spider around, and I was like, oh my god, this game is fucked up.
I had no idea what was going on. I was like flicking a spider around the screen. I have no idea what I was supposed to do with it.
So we walked away from those. So what we just talked about are really in a nutshell, the things that we really either enjoyed or hated or spent a decent amount of time with. But there was plenty of other stuff. So
there's tons of stuff.
So that said, let's get into some titles for things.
Okay.
What would you call your game of show?
Well, this one's easy. I think ours is probably both the same. Definitely Evolve.
Yes, Evolve, game of show. Not for just two of us, but for almost everybody we know.
It's so good. Like I cannot tell you enough how awesome this game is going to be. I'm so excited for it.
Nice. And I think that's everybody is. So this is going to be awesome. I can't wait for this, and you should all, any bit of information you can find about this game, just soak it in because it's going to be awesome.
Yes. So keep an eye on it. And this is one, I hadn't really heard much about until it was on the cover of the Game Informer magazine, and, realized, it was Turtle Rock that was making this, who have made Left 4 Dead, and, which is great dev studio. So, been kind of watching it more and more since then, and like I said, I cannot say enough good things about it.
No, I cannot either. And then, biggest disappointment of the show?
Watch Dogs. Like, what
okay,
the hell?
that's similar to mine. I said Ubisoft because they didn't have a whole lot of stuff, but particularly Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs, come on! I want to be able to play it. The game looks so good. But now Watch Dogs is a lie. I don't really think it exists.
Now, see, we're going to get to E3 and we're going to have like a playable hand sign. You're like, oh
I
my
know,
God, Watch
I
Dogs is the
know,
best thing
I
I've
know.
ever
Maybe-
played.
you
It's
know
so
what, maybe-
awesome. It's so cool. I love
Stop
this game.
doing my voice.
It's so sweet. I love Watch Dogs. Best ever.
You're
Best
such a
game.
jerk.
Better than Evolve.
No way. At this point, I'm not sure anything could be better than Evolve. And it's kind of funny. I was already calling Evolve my game of show after.
Oh my God, we weren't even
First
out
thing
of
in
the
the morning.
we weren't even out of the booth yet. Like we're walking out of the booth after playing. She's
Yes.
like, psst, psst, game of show. I was
know.
like, what the fuck? We saw one thing.
I know.
We,
Like
walked
nobody
right to
even-
it.
Yeah, I know. But
So-
was I wrong?
No, you were right.
Okay, see?
But yeah, it was very speculative at the time.
All right, so you guys have all heard him say, I was right.
Nah, you're not going to hear that often.
I know.
And then the other category that Tiff wanted to bring in here was favorite indie game.
Yeah. So mine, I gotta say, was World Zombination. Even though I didn't get a chance to play it, it looked really fun. I think that's one of those ones you can just kind of pick up and play. I love that it's on the tablets. I know that you hate playing tablet games, but tablets are where a lot of companies are going. It's easy to get the content out. You're not dealing with the major publishers like Sony or Microsoft. It's a great way to get your game out there, and a lot more people have tablets now. Mm-hmm. So you're definitely, it's not like you're not going to make money.
I guess it's just not my kind of thing. I went for, since you made me pick one of these, I picked an independent studio that self-publishes, Robot Entertainment and Orcs Must Die Unchained, because that is a true AAA indie title, not a fucking tablet piece of shit or an iPhone Flappy Bird ripoff. It is a fucking, cut bare metal fucking ass kicking fucking pussy licking fucking awesome.
So you just had to get your pussy in on
I
that.
know. Without another guy with me, it's hard to get this
I know.
in. Yes.
You're like, it's like pussy beside your wife. Like,
Yes. Yeah, I know. It is kind of uncomfortable. Now I got a little red hue. But Orcs Must Die Unchained. Fucking
Right.
the tits. Now, before we wrap up the show, anything off the show floor? Any party stuff or anything else you want to
I mean, there
discuss?
was tons of parties. I was kind of hoping we just focus this on the game, just because,
Yeah, I went through
The
most of the
nightlife.
parties during.
Right, you mentioned them
the
during-
other. Any other people you saw that you want to give a shout outs to, or that you enjoyed seeing? Or?
I definitely gotta say, my kind of favorite moment of the entire event was, definitely running into the Respawn people at MJ O'Connor's.
Yeah, had some drinks with them. That was
It
an
was kind of
awesome time.
You don't want me to tell the story, but it was kind of a funny occurrence because we were sitting there and we saw Abby walk in, and we both looked at each other and we're like, "Is that Abby?" And we're like, "Yeah, I think that's Abby." And then,
She's an online friend, but I had never met her before. So.
right. And then John Shearing walked in, and I'm like, "Hey, I think I follow him on Twitter. That's definitely one of the Respawn guys." I'm like, "That has to be Abby then."
So Tiff was stalking them, and needless to say, we ended up inviting them over, and it was
Right.
it
I'm
was
like,
it was a
"Let me
good
just go
plan.
say hi." And he's like, "No." So then he pulls like the cool guy move. He's like, I see he's like knocking me under the table now.
It was a suave move. We
It
called
was.
him over, and we had a good time with him.
Exactly.
Yes.
You
And then
trying to shut me up.
you're so annoying.
I know. It's so fun. That's why I'm here.
Some people we only see at events. Hip Hop Gamer, Rob, Prodigy X.
Yep.
These are just great people. Billy Nichols guy I had never met except for online, and he included us in all his party stuff this year.
Yeah,
and
Billy was a blast.
he is a wild, crazy guy, and which is because I'm calling him wild, crazy, and then I walk into places. He's
Right.
like, let me introduce you to Derek Nolan. He's the only fucking guy crazier than me. And I was like, oh my God, am I that bad? So he's good people, and we had a good time with him over the weekend. But,
Yeah, the glowing bottle of Grey Goose at the one party one night was definitely insane. I've never seen anything like that.
Julep Boston, VIP, glowing giant bottle of champagne, glowing giant bottle of vodka, a half-naked waitress serving it to us, and it was bizarre.
I thought maybe we were in Vegas for a minute.
Yes, it was a good time, but actually, there's too many people to mention, and
There is.
but we love seeing all of our friends, and
Yeah,
it's
and there's
always
so
a
many
good time.
people that we don't even get to see. We know that are there,
Yep.
and you don't even get to spend any time with at all. You see them in passing, but then there's other people that you hang out with.
Like E, we
many
usually
times.
spend hours and hours and hours with E. We saw E for maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he came over and you seeked us out, seeked us out.
I hope he
Yeah, I hope he didn't
suck
suck us out. Yes, he seeked us out, came over, grabbed us, made sure he said hi, and we talked to him for a little bit, and then After that, he was just on his own chaotic schedule. We were on ours.
Right. Yeah,
So
I usually see a lot more of the harmonics people. I think we only saw them briefly.
well,
after
they didn't have a
one of their-
booth,
one
so
of their
that
panels.
slows that down. But hopefully, we'll see all these guys at E3
Most def.
and have a good time with them.
All right, so my only other complaint that I have to complain about,
Uh-oh.
okay, is the badges. Can you see this? All right,
Yep.
Who am I?
Yes, it's definitely different than the E3 badges.
Who am I?
Tiff's name, in case you can't see it, is...
Oh, wait, you got to get, like...
Oh, they're still not who
Oh, you're still not going to be able to see it. Okay, so this is my biggest complaint about the PAX events, is the itty-bitty tiny name on the badges. It is really, especially like for media, when you're walking around trying to see, you like recognize someone and you're trying to figure out who they are. Like, just make the first name big as fuck on the badge, so you're not like staring at someone trying to figure out, is that really so and so? It's creepy.
Yeah, it makes it much easier to talk to people when you can see their name. If it's someone you recognize and you just don't remember what their name is, you can just
Right.
kind of give them a quick glance. And if you have 3 people like we do at E3, somebody gets a look at it and they're like, "Psst, that's so and so," and we're like,
Right.
"Oh, sweet, okay." then we
Yeah, I
talk.
know, it's insane. So that was probably one of my biggest complaints, just about the organization of the event. And I remember they've done that before, but for the love of God, please just make the names bigger.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I guess before we wrap up, don't forget to Twitter us up, twitter.com/tooltoplay, twitter.com/still_got_game. I, king of the internet, got of everything that's holy, at twitter.com/Derek Nolan.
I am twitter.com/electrify.
Facebook the fuck out of us, facebook.com/tooltoplay, facebook.com/Derek Nolan.
Facebook.com/Tiff Nolan. These are hard questions right now. I'm tired.
Oh my god, these
tonight.
are the things
I
you
know,
should
and,
know.
your energy, where'd your energy go? Usually you're like,
Well,
I am.
Well, because we're not coming off of sponsors. Because
Oh, okay.
sponsors, I usually
I see.
I end up with boom,
Right.
done, and then it
Okay,
really
gotcha,
carries me in.
gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, so
So YouTube, youtube.com/tooltoplay. Subscribe there. You get all of our fine shows on there, including Still Got Game. Every once in a while, there's an episode of Thick and Thin. Tiff, sometimes if she ever gets her head out of her ass, has a show.
It's not-
Immature
it's not my fault.
interviews. We also have hit shits, where Hit cranks up the neck and does his thing and plays some new games, masturbates, whatever he does at midnight when new games come
Gross.
out. Yes. Also, we have our app on the iTunes store, the Tool to Play app. It sucks right now, so please give us comments on what sucks so we can make it better. But
please rate it 1 star.
but it will give you all the information about news stories on the Tool to Play homepage, as well as all of our video content right there. It will push all that to you. But the app definitely needs some work. Also, please rate and review the podcast on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Tell people we're gods. Tell people we're awesome. Tell people you love the show. Whatever you want to tell them, just do it there and make sure it has a 5-star review with it. Also, this show is on Twitch TV live, like you're watching right now, or almost, or almost no one is, because this is a horrible time of night for a show.
Right.
We're
It's
we're
an off
past
time.
we're past our early time of 7, and we're now in the main television time of the evening, and we're not
True.
later like at 10 o'clock at night. So, but we are on twitch.tv/Tool to Play. Go there, subscribe, and you will be notified whenever Tool to Play content starts streaming. Last but not least, this show is normally live every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, twitch.tv/Tool to Play. So check us out live. Join in the chat room. It is much more full than it is tonight, and you can't go wrong with our chat, because even if we're ignoring you, the chat talks to each other. They have a great time with it.
We do have a great time.
So I guess on that, why don't we wrap this episode up? I am Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am Tiffany Electrify Nolan.
Fucking PAX East is over. Where's E3? Boom.
Done.